You mentioned in your opening remarks that you're a pediatric neurologist surgeon. Neurosurgeon. And people admire and respect and are inspired by your life story, your kindness, your evangelical core support. We're talking about ruthless things tonight. Carpet bombing, toughness, war. And people wonder, could you do that? Could you order airstrikes that would kill innocent children by not the scores, but the hundreds and the thousands? Could you wage war as a commander-in-chief?
Well, interestingly enough, you should see the eyes of some of those children when I say to them, we're going to have to open your head up and take out this tumor. They're not happy about it, believe me. And they don't like me very much at that point. But later on, they love me. Sometimes I sound like him. Later on, they really realize what's going on. And by the same token, you have to be able to look at the big picture and understand that it's actually merciful if you go ahead and finish the job rather than death by 1,000 pricks.
So you are okay with the deaths of thousands of innocent children and civilians? It's like...
You got it. You got it.
That is what war... Can you be as ruthless as Churchill was in prosecuting the war against the Nazis?
Ruthless is not necessarily the word I would use, but tough, resolute, understanding what the problems are, and understanding that the job of the President of the United States is to protect the people of this country and to do what is necessary in order to get it done.
Senator Paul, you said ISIS grew stronger because of the hawks in your party. Do you really think that Republicans have fueled the rise of ISIS?
I think that by arming the allies of ISIS, the Islamic rebels against Assad, that we created a safe space or made that space bigger for ISIS to grow. I think those who have wanted regime change have made a mistake. When we toppled Gaddafi in Libya, I think that was a mistake. I think ISIS grew stronger, we have a failed state, and we are more at risk. I'd like to also go back to, though, another question, which is Donald Trump a serious candidate? The reason I ask this is, if you're going to close the internet, realize, America, what that entails. That entails getting rid of the First Amendment, okay? It's no small feat. If you are going to kill the families of terrorists, realize that there's something called the Geneva Convention we're going to have to pull out of. It would defy every norm that is America. So when you ask yourself, whoever you are that think you're going to support Donald Trump, think, do you believe in the Constitution? Are you going to change the Constitution?
Mr. Trump.
So they can kill us, but we can't kill them. That's what you're saying. And as far as the internet is concerned, I'm not talking about closing the internet. I'm talking about parts of Syria, parts of Iraq, where ISIS is, spotting it. Now, you could close it. What I like even better than that is getting our smartest and getting our best to infiltrate their internet so that we know exactly where they're going, exactly where they're going to be. I like that better. But we have to... Who would be... I just can't imagine somebody booing. These are people that want to kill us, folks. And you're objecting to us infiltrating their conversations? I don't think so. I don't think so.
Senator Paul. Senator Paul, I want to go back to my initial question, which is you saying that ISIS grew stronger because of hawks in your party. And do you think that your own party, the people who you're describing, are responsible for the rise of ISIS?
I think that if you believe in regime change, you're mistaken. In 2013, we put 600 tons of weapons, us, Saudi Arabia, and Qatar, into the war against Assad. By pushing Assad back, we did create a safe space. We had people coming to our Foreign Relations Committee and saying, oh, we need to arm the allies of al-Qaeda. They are still saying this. It is a crazy notion. This is the biggest debate we should be having tonight, is regime change a good idea? Has it been a good idea? There are still people, the majority on the stage, they want to topple Assad. And then there'll be chaos, and I think ISIS will then be in charge of Syria.
Senator, we're going to talk about regime change in a bit, but Governor Kasich, would you like to respond to Senator Paul?
Yeah, let me just suggest to everybody, and I hear, last February, I said we needed to have people on the ground in a coalition with Europe and our allies. This is not going to get done just by working with the Sunnis, and it is not going to get done if we just embed a few people. We have to go massively like we did in the first Gulf War, where we destroyed Saddam's ability to take Kuwait. We need to have a coalition that will stand for nothing less than the total destruction of ISIS, and we have to be the leader. We can't wait for anybody else. I served on the Armed Services Committee for 18 years, and we must lead or the job won't get done, unfortunately, for our country.
Thank you, Governor. Senator Rubio, let's continue this conversation. This is a critically important issue.
I hope at some point you're going to ask me my strategy for defeating ISIS.
We have a lot of time, Ms. Fiorina. I want to get Senator Rubio right now. Let's talk about one of the aspects of your strategy. You say the only way to defeat ISIS is with ground forces made up primarily of Sunni Arab forces. Yes. Those Arab nations, though, as you well know, they've conducted less than 5% of the airstrikes and actually none since August. What makes you think they are willing to fight on the ground if they're not even willing to fight from the air?
Well, they most certainly will have to be worked on to provide more than what they are doing now. There's no doubt about it. And there's one major reason why they have not been willing to be a broader part of the coalition, and that is they have lost complete trust and confidence in this president. This president cut a deal with their mortal enemy, the Shia, in Iran. And this is the reason why they no longer trust this president or are willing to work alongside them. But they have as much invested in this as we do, in fact, more so. For it is the king of Saudi Arabia they want to behead first. It's the king of Jordan that they want to dethrone. They want to go into Egypt, like the way they've already gone into Libya. And on another point we need to talk about, Assad is one of the main reasons why ISIS even exists to begin with. Assad is a puppet of Iran, and he has been so brutal towards the Sunni within Syria that he created the space that led for the people of Syria themselves to stand up and try to overthrow him. That led to the chaos, which allowed ISIS to come in and take advantage of that situation and grow more powerful. And the fact that this president led from behind meant there were no alternative groups on the ground to be empowered, leaving ISIS the prime operating space they needed to become the force they have now become.
That's just factually incorrect.
Stand by. Ms. Fiorina, the former Defense Secretary Bob Cates says the chances of getting Sunni Arab forces on the ground to get the job done, his words, chances very remote. What's your strategy?
Well, first, I'll just point out that talking tough is not the same as being strong. And to wage war, we need a commander-in-chief who has made tough calls in tough times and stood up to be held accountable over and over, not first-term senators who never made an executive decision in their life. One of the things I would immediately do, in addition to defeating them here at home, is bring back the warrior class: Petraeus, McChrystal, Mattis, Keene, Flynn. Every single one of these generals I know, every one was retired early because they told President Obama things that he didn't want to hear. We must have Sunni Arabs involved in this coalition. We must commit leadership, strength, support, and resolve. I'll just add that Margaret Thatcher once said, if you want something talked about, ask a man. If you want something done, ask a woman.
Thank you. Governor Christie, what's your strategy?
Well, you know, you sit up here and you listen to this stuff and you think that so many of these people who have had so much to do in this national debate they talk like they were bystanders. You know, we talk about our military being degraded over time, and yet we've had folks on the stage who've been a part of Congress who have participated in sequester, who participated in the degrading of this military over time. And that's why I think people get so frustrated with Washington, D.C. now. That's why they're so angry with the electorate, so angry with everybody who's involved in government in Washington, D.C. Because if you listen to the folks up here, you would think that they weren't even there, that they had nothing to do with this. This is the difference between being a governor and being in a legislature. See, because when something doesn't work in New Jersey, they look at me, say, why didn't it get done? Why didn't you do it? You have to be responsible and accountable. And so on ISIS, let's be clear. The president needs to be a force that is trusted in the world. And on this, I agree with Marco. You know, this president's not trusted. If you're the king of Jordan, if you're in the royal family in Saudi Arabia, and he's made this deal with Iran, which gives them $150 billion to wage a war and try to extend their empire across the Middle East, why would you want to do it now? But I will tell you this, when I stand across from King Hussein of Jordan, I say to him, you have a friend again, sir, who will stand with you to fight this fight. He'll change his mind.